Hi everyone, my name is Mandy and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about something that I'm very passionate about and something that I love, and that is reading. So today I decided to give you 5 book recommendations. So yeah, let's just get started, I guess. These are just some books that I've been recently reading that I think are very interesting, and maybe some of you have some extra time on your hands and you want to get into reading a bit more. So I just thought I might give you some of my recommendations, and I tried to kind of just have a bit of everything in here. So a bit of like fiction books, non-fiction books, crime, romance, all those kind of things. And I thought I was just gonna start with 5 books. And if you want to have a couple more recommendations, let me know, because I have so many books. Like, I have a lot of books. Okay, my mom actually kind of forbid me to buy more books. But I work in the bookstores. So you can imagine that buying books is just something that I like to do. And yeah, so we're gonna start with something that I just finished like an hour ago, and that was Nicholas Sparks. That is Nicholas Sparks, The Best of Me. This is the German version, so don't be confused about the cover if the English one looks any different. So I first read a Nicholas Sparks book when The Last Song with Miley Cyrus came out, and he has a tendency to really just play with your feelings. So I was just so into the story. The protagonists have been together in the past, and then they broke up because Dawson, one of the main character in here, decided to let Amanda, the other main character, go to college. And there's a fly in here, and that fly is so freaking annoying. And basically, they broke up when they were 17 to let Amanda go to college, and then they meet again 2 or 3 centuries later, because one, the guy that Dawson was living with, died, and he wanted both of them to be there for his funeral, kind of. And they just meet again. They realize they still have feelings for each other, and it is so cute and romantic, even though Amanda is married and has children, but she's not happy in her marriage, which I feel like is the case a lot of times, actually. And she's not happy in her marriage. Her husband is an alcoholic, and she meets Dawson again, and she realizes that she still loves him and he still loves her, and they have a weekend filled with a lot of romance and reminiscing about old memories. I don't know what happens to my voice right now. I'm just really into it right now. But at the end, something really, really tragic happens, and Nicholas Sparks just rips your heart out and leaves you crying on your couch after finishing this book. I obviously don't want to get too much into detail because this is a recommendation. So if you're interested in finding out what Nicholas Sparks decides to end this book with, then you should definitely give it a try. It's a really easy read. It does look like a lot, but it's really not. I finished it in 2 days, 3 days with work in between. It's a really nice book, but it really does leave you heartbroken afterwards, so keep that in mind. But I do think that's just something that Nicholas Sparks does a lot. The Last Song, I was a mess after reading that book. And what's the other one? A Day to Remember? No, that's a band, isn't it? I'm gonna leave the name of the other one down here, where it's also a movie, and that just leaves you heartbroken as well. So I think that's just a Nicholas Sparks trait in his books, but really good. Highly recommend it. So if you're reading or if you're looking for something to read, Nicholas Sparks is always a good go-to. Even though I feel like nowadays not a lot of people are reading Nicholas Sparks anymore, at least not people that are coming into the bookstore to find recommendations. I feel like no one here in Germany really reads Nicholas Sparks anymore, which is weird because I really like the way he's writing. Next is a bit of an older book, I'm pretty sure. I think so. Could also be from 2018, I have no idea. This is Rachel, her last letter home, and my brother gave me this book for Christmas, and I've read this book also in like 4 days or something. It is really good. So this actually plays in 2 different time settings, one that's more our time now and one that is, I think, 1940. So obviously, you know, 1940. In 1940, obviously, the Second World War was going on, and this plays in England. So here we have Bryony, and she's actually a historian, I'm pretty sure, and she writes books as well, mostly about wartime. And she comes across a mansion in Italy, and there she actually finds out that this is a place where her grandfather was stationed in 1943, so during the war. And in this mansion she's handed, where she's staying for a vacation, she's handed like a bunch of letters from a woman called Zara. And Sarah wrote to a guy named Paul. And Paul was a young German man. So obviously not really ideal during the Second World War to be German in England, and obviously not being for Germany. Like, he obviously was not for Germany. So these letters lead back to like almost 70 years to pre-war Norfolk. And so Bryony really tries to figure out what the relationship between Sarah and Paul was, and she figures out a lot of secrets. And she also is met with a lot of resentment because not a lot of people want to talk about the past or want to talk about Paul or Sarah. And this story has pretty much everything in it. Do you see the fly? I'm so sorry. This story has pretty much everything. It has secrets, it has love, it has heartbreak in here, it has history in here, which I also find very interesting. And it is a really nice, easy read as well. It is a bit like longer than Nicholas Sparks, but it's not as heartbreaking as Nicholas Sparks. So this is a really cute and romantic story that I think, if you're interested in romantic books, this is definitely something that you should try out to read. I really, really like it, and I'm definitely gonna read more of her books because there are so many in here. Like, honestly, they just sound amazing already. Like A Place of Secrets, or The House on Bellevue Gardens, or what else? The Memory Garden. These just sound so interesting. So yeah, this was a really good book. I'll leave links for the books down below if you're interested in reading them. I'm not used to talking so much, so excuse me. My mouth gets like really dry. Also, this video was such a spontaneous idea, so I'm sorry. Next, we are gonna talk about Karen McManus and her book To Keep a Secret. And this book gave me ultimate Pretty Little Liars vibes. yeah, I really thought I was reading like Pretty Little Liars when I was reading this book. I actually did read Pretty Little Liars, so kind of can make a comparison between those two, I guess. But yeah, this called "You Can Keep a Secret," and then says down here if one is dead. So obviously this has like murder in here. This has detectives in here. This has a protagonist who is obsessed with true crime and wants to figure out a murder that just happened. And I can totally understand why. Honestly, if I was as involved as the main characters in this book are, I would try to figure it out as well. And I definitely did not think about the person that ended up being the murderer. And actually, there was a murder or disappearance way before the two protagonists moved into the town that this plays in. And the protagonist, the victim that actually died like years ago was actually not their mother, but a friend of their mother. And I think, wait, give me a second. Oh my god. Not a friend of her mother, but her aunt. So, and then like years later, I think like 20 years later or so, another disappearance occurs, and it's pretty much the same story. A 17-year-old girl disappears and everything is just a mess. And yeah, so it says here that this place in a small town, Anchorage in America, and before the new school year begins for Ellery, the main protagonist, someone declares open season on homecoming, promising to make it as dangerous as it was 5 years ago. So 5 years ago was the time. 5 years ago was the time when a homecoming queen put the town on the map when she was killed. So there were 3 disappearances. One was her aunt, another one was the homecoming queen that was killed, and now another girl goes missing. And never in my life did I think of the person that was actually behind all of this. So this is another story where you don't find out the killer until the very last pages, or the very last page, which I love that. I love it when I don't even know who it could be, or if I'm so wrong about who it was, because I was really wrong about it. I thought it was I'm not gonna say who I thought it was. Yeah, but there are also a lot of secrets in here, a lot of family secrets, a lot of connections that were not made official. And honestly, one of the attractions in this town that this book plays in is called Murderland. So why would anyone call an amusement park Murderland? I feel like there's already just an indication hi, here you can murder people. No. So yeah, but it was really interesting. I would definitely recommend this if you like crime books or true crime books. This is not true crime, I don't think so, but it is really interesting, and I would definitely recommend it if you are into this kind of books. If you're into Pretty Little Liars, I think you will really enjoy this book. The next book is going to be a non-fiction book, and it's going to be one of those self-help books, which I don't really read a lot, but I thought I might give it a try, and I actually really like this one. So this is Unfuck Yourself. This is Unfuck Yourself, Get Out of Your Head and Into Your Life by Gary John Bishop. And I think Kenzie Elizabeth recommended this book, so I just, decided to read it. It is really interesting, and it definitely did help me try to become more productive, more present in whatever I was working on, because sometimes you're working on things but you're not really like there with your head, and I was just really trying to focus more after reading this book. So do you think you need to read self-help books in order to like get your life together? No, it is all, what self-help books do is try to get your mind more focused on certain things, but that's definitely something that you can also achieve with like podcasts or meditation or like whatever might help you. So I don't necessarily think that you need to read a book like this, but if you're someone who likes to read and think that's gonna help you more, then this is a book that I really do recommend. I really liked it. It's fairly easy to read, fairly thin, and also the way it's like structured is quite nice actually. So yeah, I do recommend this if you're trying to become more productive and more present in your own life. The last book I sadly don't have here right now. I think it's in my parents' house in my old bedroom, but it's a book that I've read in one of my one of my bachelor courses, my undergraduate courses, and that was Kindred by Octavia Butler. And that book was so easy to read. I read in like 2 days because I was just so invested in it. I was so interested in it. And it is a fiction book, and it kind of is like a bit like fantasy kind of. So the main protagonist travels back in time, but well, I should probably mention that the protagonist is a Black woman, and she goes back to a time where slavery was a thing, and where especially Black people were enslaved and had to really face traumatic things. This book talks about history and what Black people had to go through during slavery, and it made you question if when you're from the present world, where I think she was from 1970 or something, and you go back to the 19th century, would you change anything? Like, would you use your knowledge to change the past? And I found that question so interesting because I wouldn't know what I would do. I think I would try to change it, but at the same time, when you change the past, you change the present, and you don't know what that decision might change. So she was really torn between should you use her knowledge or should you not use her knowledge, and you could really feel that internal battle in her. And I really don't know what I would do. So that question was with me the entire time that I read this book, and that was definitely one of my favorite books that I read throughout my bachelor studies. So I'm very thankful for my teacher for presenting a book like this, because I would have never known of it. And I think this could definitely become a piece of very important literature. And yeah, so I really enjoyed that book. So if you're more into books that have a really very true historic background, I would highly recommend that book, and I thought it was amazing. And this is one of the books I recommend to everyone who asks me what books I recommend. So Octavia Butler Kindred is definitely one of the books I would recommend to everyone who's into literature, who wants to read something with history, And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about that book. So those were just a couple of book recommendations. I do have so many more books that I've read throughout my 22 years of life. So if you want to have like different recommendations when it comes to like fantasy books, I was really into like vampire stories, or I'm also getting more into self-help books, or you want more romantic book recommendations, let me know. I have so many and I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of video. Please let me know if you did, and subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a like and comment down below your favorite book, because I am going through all of my books right now that I have like on my to read list, and I've almost finished all of them. So please let me know your favorite books down below so that I know what I can read next. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope I'm going to see you in my next one. Bye!